And we are back, y'all. Thank you for watching today. Go ahead and hit that like button. You know it helps us out a ton, and it helps you because it helps us keep bringing you this content. Now, y'all, as I've been telling y'all, we are in for a battle royale. We are probably going to see the most litigious 4 years in the history of this wonderful country that we call home here, United States of America. In the latest salvo, Donald Trump's administration has called a halt to different federal loan programs and grant programs, and Letitia James, the Attorney General of the great state of New York, has already said that they plan to take action against Donald Trump. Now, let's dig into this a little bit with this article. New York Attorney General Letitia James announced a new imminent lawsuit against the Trump administration on Tuesday regarding the freezing of federal grant programs. Trump's White House Budget Office ordered a temporary freeze on all federal grants and loans in a memo on Monday. The decision could potentially impact trillions. That's a T. That's 1 trillion is 1,000 times a billion, or it's a million, okay? So it could potentially impact millions of dollars in government spending and halt public programs, according to this article. The freeze does not include programs like Social Security, Medicare, welfare, and direct individual assistance, but it is set to take effect today at 5 o'clock, which is already passed. Now let's listen to Ms. James talking about this. Then we'll come back for a little bit more analysis on this from the media.
States have been frozen out of their Medicaid reimbursement systems, including New York. And in one state, it was reported that they were blocked out of their child support enforcement, and they cannot draw down on these funds. Here in New York, we rely upon these critical services throughout our state, and these funds support health care in rural and underserved communities. They fund infrastructure repairs to fix New York's roads and bridges. They support initiatives to take drugs off of our streets, stop dangerous crime rings, and keep communities safe. In fact, last night in Arizona, 500 pounds of meth were seized thanks to federal programs that could be paused. Not only does this administration's new policy put people at risk, but it is plainly unconstitutional. The president does not get to decide which laws to enforce and for whom. When Congress dedicates funding for a program, the president cannot pull that funding on a whim. Later today, I am leading and joining with my colleagues, my fellow Democratic attorney generals, in suing this administration to stop this illegal freeze of essential funds for our state. We will not stand for any illegal policy that puts essential services for millions of Americans at risk. And we work tirelessly overnight to ensure that that does not happen. Our lawsuit will seek a court order to immediately stop the enforcement of the OMB policy and to preserve essential funding for Americans.
So as you can see, Ms. James says she's ready to go to bat for this. Y'all, I think we're going to see so many battles, so much litigation. Do we have enough bandwidth in the courts to handle all of this? Because, I mean, y'all, we're only about a week into the Trump administration, and Trump and his people are already at odds with the states. You know, not all the states. Y'all know which states I'm talking about. They're already at odds with some of the states, I think I should say. And we're only a week in, y'all. So let's take a look at how the media is reporting this, and then we'll come back.
This morning, this sweeping, unprecedented order that puts a pause to all federal grants and loans at 5 p.m. today. This could be trillions of dollars in funding that impacts programs and people in the United States and around the world, things like disaster aid, aid for medical charities, food assistance programs. This all came in a 2-page memo that kind of lacks clarity on exactly how this should be implemented. It has also sparked new debates about constitutionality. A lot of questions here. Let's get right to the White House for CNN's Elena Train, who I know has been digging on this. Elena.
That's right. This is really the latest stunning use of power from President Donald Trump's White House, just 8 days now into his new administration. And look, this internal memo that was circulated by the White House Office of Management and Budget says that all federal grants and loans will be halted starting at 5 p.m. today, potentially impacting trillions of dollars in spending, and also potentially impacting millions of Americans who rely on this type of funding. Now, I said, this is expected to take effect at 5 p.m. today. That means a lot of these organizations were given less than 24 hours notice of this change, and they have until February 10th to submit reports to the budget office at the White House, and from there, seeking clarity on how this will move forward. Now, one thing that is clear is that the freeze on this is something that the budget office is saying is for organizations that don't necessarily align with Donald Trump's views. I want to read for you what Matthew Vaith, the acting director of the Office of Management and Budget, said in an internal memo. He said, quote, "The use of federal resources to advance Marxist equity, transgenderism, and Green New Deal social engineering policies is a waste of taxpayer dollars that does not improve the day-to-day lives of those we serve." Now, to be clear, John, this memo does specify that Social Security and Medicare benefits are not going to be affected by this freeze. Also, individuals who receive these different loans directly will not be impacted. However, hundreds of different federal payouts are now in jeopardy, all from charities to different research bodies, universities, community projects. All of those could be impacted by this move. Now, we've heard a lot of top Democrats sounding the alarm on this. We heard just this morning from Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker, a Democrat. This is what he had to say. He posted on X, quote, "The U.S. Constitution does not grant the president this unilateral authority. In Illinois, we will stand against unlawful actions that would harm millions of working families, children, and seniors." Now, we also heard from people on Capitol Hill who are arguing, again, that Donald Trump might not have the authority to do this. This is what Senator Chuck Schumer said in a statement last night. He said, quote, "Congress approved these investments and they are not optional. They are the law." So a lot of questions, as you can tell, about whether or not this is something the White House is actually able to do. Now, some experts have said that the president does have the authority, at least temporarily, to put a pause on this type of funding. But again, we really do have to see the details of this because the scope and scale of this directive is so broad and impacts so many different people that there's going to be a lot of questions on this. Now, we do plan to hear from Caroline Leavitt, the White House press secretary, later today at 1 p.m. I expect she's going to get a lot of questions on this, John.
Her first, I think, White House press conference, and I do expect this will be a major topic there. Elena Trine, great to have you on with us this morning. Thank you very much.
So as you can see, y'all, this is being billed as something that the president does not have the authority to do. This is being billed as something that is an overstep or an overreach of presidential powers and something that the courts will likely strike down. Now, frankly, I don't know. This is a little bit past even though I went to law school, y'all, you don't learn everything in law school. So this would be one of those things where I'm going to wait for the big boys and the big girls to battle it out and see what's going to happen. I would like to hear y'all's comments about this. What do you think about this program? What do you think about the looming, just insane number of battles that we are not only seeing, but we can predict we're going to see between the states and Trump and his administration, y'all? Let me know in the comments. I do appreciate y'all watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll catch you back in the next one.